Hey, coach. So glad you found the video. Make sure you subscribe and like. Make sure you go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Let me help you put banners and national rankings and all those things in your gym. Go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It's a community of like-minded coaches. We just got off an hour and a half call. Come over and join us, and let's head off to the video.
All right, welcome to the Basketball Leadership Podcast. Coach, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. So I was chuckling about this topic before we came on. So I I think I can answer it in about 2 seconds, but I don't think that's necessarily the road we want to walk down. So it says today's topic is, what do players want in a coach?
Yeah, and I'll tell you where this came about. I write a lot on X, and one of the things I wrote, this is probably, I don't know, this is a year ago, over a year ago. What do coaches want in a player? And I had a list of, 6, 7 things that we look for in players. And someone replied and said, "Hey coach, how about what do players want in a coach?" I said, "Great idea." So I went to practice the next day and I asked my kids that. I said, "Hey guys, I just posted this yesterday. I want to know what you guys want in a coach." And they gave me 8 things in a matter of seconds. And so I went home after practice that night. I put up a new post. What do players want in a coach? I had a couple 100,000 impressions on it, and it was a pretty popular post. So here's what they told me. Number one, they want a coach that cares. Kids want a coach that cares. Seems pretty obvious. That's what they want. And I'll go through them quick, then we can talk. They want a coach that can have fun. And, have fun is obviously you're in business mode when you're in practice, but they can still joke with them and have fun with them. They want a coach that's honest. And I think, we've talked about this a lot. Um, Brutal honesty with kids is really important, and with parents as well. I think where coaches get in trouble is when they're not honest, and especially with roles and things like that. And um, kids want honesty.
They
They
do.
just want to know. They just want to know. They want a coach that's competitive. Kids want to win. They want a coach that wants to win with them, that puts them in the best chance to win and succeed. And I think that's a big one. The fifth one is passion. They want a coach that wants to be there, a coach that puts in time. And I think, kids see that when they see a coach going all in for the team, you know, whether it's extra work, it's scouting reports, whatever it may be, they're going to work harder because they want that. Humor kind of goes with fun, but humor is having that sense of humor, a little bit different than keeping it fun and practice and things like that. They want a teacher, someone who's going to teach the game. And then finally, and probably the most important, it goes along with cares, but is someone who will build a relationship with them, much more than just a basketball coach, but someone that is going to, you know, be with them for the long haul and get to know them as a person. And so I thought that was pretty insightful when I got it. And I think it's probably if I asked every team that every year, it's going to be pretty similar.
I think so. I think it would be pretty close. I think the foundation, and we've talked about this before, of any team is relationship.
Everything.
Like, none of the rest of the stuff matters if you don't have a relationship.
Nope.
It's like, if you're not, like, it's same in the classroom. It's like, I can't, to be honest with you, half of them don't care about statistics.
They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yes.
I mean, that's
and then you can convince them of things and teach them things and do those kind of things. I agree. So what do you think's the hardest on this list?
Well,
It might be humor, because there are some coaches that aren't very freaking funny, to be honest with you.
yeah, I mean, I think with humor, you just have to be yourself, and you got to be willing to be vulnerable. I think a lot of times when you're younger, um, it's hard to be vulnerable when you're younger. And maybe that's
Right.
pretty normal. I think as you get older and you get more confident with yourself, as who you are as a coach and a person, you can open up more with kids, and you can be more willing, at least I found myself more willing to be vulnerable and, be honest on how I'm feeling about something too. And I think that goes with humor. Like, I've given up some things, and I've showed my sense of humor more as I've aged.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like you gotta be vulnerable a little bit too.
Yes.
Like I think, I mean, I would add that to this list a little. They have to see that you're human, that you
Yep.
make mistakes, and when you make mistakes, you admit you made mistakes. I've done that last couple of years. I've said that's probably my fault. I'm sorry. That's
Yep.
me. Like blame
Yep.
that on coach. Don't blame that on you. Blame that on me. Because that it goes back to a couple of things. It shows you care. It shows you're being honest. It shows you have passion. You know, it shows you're trying to build a relationship because you're like one thing like that can build triple
All of
three or
them
four.
check a
It
lot of
can. It could
boxes.
check a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
And a lot of people won't want. I mean, the authoritarian leader is like a dinosaur at this point.
Yeah, and you
Uh,
have to evolve. I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago with a guy, Colin Jonoff, and we had a great conversation. I mean, we talked for an hour, and really got into some deep concepts on coaching. And I mean, I talked about relationships a lot, but I also talked about standards.
right.
Like, as we have to
Yep.
have standards. And his comment was it caught me off guard, because he goes, in some regard, you sound like Bobby Knight, but you're totally the 180 of Bobby Knight in relationships. And I'm like, well, I've never been called Bobby Knight, and I
Right.
never will. But I think what he was saying is you have to have high standards, and you have to have expectations, and you got to push kids. And there's nothing wrong with that. They all want that. They want
No,
that
and it's like,
discipline.
and I'm telling you, the hardest conversations I had this season were the most impactful, and the showing them that I cared, that I wanted a relationship, that I loved them, that I cared about them as human beings. It was more
Yeah.
than basketball. That
Yeah.
it was like, and there's tears rolling. I mean, but it's like those trust me that after those conversations they knew I cared. It wasn't about me not caring, it was about me holding them to a standard, and it
Yeah.
wasn't embarrassing them. It was them, and it was them. Both of the conversations were them and me in my classroom, period. It wasn't, no one was around. It was us having a discussion about them and about
Yeah.
some things that they needed to do.
So I think what it reminds me of, and I think you'll totally agree with this, how you win, how you have success in life and basketball, the recipe for that hasn't changed.
right.
The how has changed. The
Yes.
authoritarian, you listen to me, top down, which used to be kind of the model, that doesn't work.
Right.
But you can still expect things and have standards and do all the things that are needed, to be successful and win, and have incredibly close relationships with kids.
It's like having rules for your own children. It's like,
It's no
here's your
different.
curfew, and if you miss the curfew, something's going to happen. It's not because it's no different. It's not
No,
me sitting at the front door screaming at you. You know, when you walk in that door and you're 15 minutes late, then something's going to happen. It's like,
absolutely.
and that's the thing. It's like, because no one, like I've always told young coaches too, no one wants, I don't want my boss coming in and yelling at me.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll have a discussion with them if they think I did something wrong. They're great, let's have a discussion. But no one wants to be yelled at.
no.
You know, and again, I always say there is that 1%, 3%, and this is the analogy I use. Child runs into street, you grab child, you scold child because
Yeah,
you thought child was going to get hit by a car.
yeah,
When it's life, there are issues at which you need to do that. I've had a
100%.
few, yeah, and I've had those like hanging on the rim, chinning yourself up. It's like I will scream at that point,
Oh
because
yeah,
if you fall, you could break your neck, and I do not want that. Blah, blah. So there's always those
Absolutely.
You know,
And
and that's what people don't understand. There's a difference. There's a safety. It's like my wife says with bullying. Like I used to do this in my class. I said, you know, stop. You know, are you being bullied? Are you being threatened? Are you being that, or are you just being someone just teasing with you? There's that line, and it's
yeah,
hard sometimes to know the line.
it's no different than parenting. And I think, you know, we get in a whole nother discussion about this, but um, you know, there are times where you have to lay the hammer down, but you need to save those times and make them, you know, when they happen, they have to be because it's something really, really important, safety issue. But it's okay to scold your kids when you need to.
Right.
But it's all in love, and it's all in getting them towards a standard that you know they need to be the person or the team they need to be.
Right. You're trying to make them the best team, best person,
Absolutely.
best thing that you
Yep.
can. Yes. It's
It's like dealing with your own kids. I mean,
100%. Yes, it's 100%. I don't want someone going off. I mean, and again, I've coached my own son. It's like I was probably harder on him, but I never
Yeah.
screamed at him because I wouldn't scream at anybody else's kid.
Yep.
All right. Anything else, Coach?
I think that's good.
All right.
Hey, Coach, so glad you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. Actually, if you did, subscribe and like, and then go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better.